Hey,
Hello, hello, hello.
happy Thursday. Happy Gold Talk. I'm sorry, it's not Gold Talk. It is Gold Sisters Network Presents Think About It Thursday. And today of, we have a topic of overcoming the crowd. No validation needed.
No validation needed.
So,
Who are you?
So I am Taj Shaw. I am your business strategist, productivity coach. I help small business owners go from overworked and overwhelmed with juggling multiple tasks to scaling their business with ease. So if you're all over the place and you need a plan, you need accountability, you need to execute, I am the coach that will help you get to what you already know you're capable of doing and push you beyond your limits so that you can execute on another level. And
Well,
who are
you definitely got the push part right. I am the real estate ace, Gail Sanders. I'm your winning strategy to to buying, selling, or investing in real estate. It is my desire to help home buyers and sellers achieve their goals in real estate, whatever those goals might be, even in investing, and ultimately create strategies for us women
okay?
of all ages to be homeowners, if not just homeowners, but someday be investors as well. So I desire to make that happen, and I'm in the process of making it happen. So if you're interested in buying real estate, selling real estate, or investing in real estate, give me a call.
All righty then. So now you know who we are, and we are very close friends, goal sisters, partners in crimes, and we always have these talks that lead to things after things after things after thoughts after thoughts after thoughts after pushes after pushes after pushes, right?
Yes,
So
I
we
am
thought
Taj's midwife, and she is my midwife.
there's a
That's
lot
the
of
way we
purpose.
like to put it.
So we thought it would be great to start these Let's Think About It Thursdays, because we think about a lot of things when we have conversations, and we think that other women may have these conversations and not have anybody to share it with. So we can be your best friends, girl. We can be your dog friends. But we would appreciate any comments you have, any things that you want to contribute. I am watching the comments. It should show up in the stream that we're in, but if it does not, I am in the Gold Sisters Network looking at comments, and also on my personal page looking at comments. So hopefully I catch you along the way. So our topic for today is overcoming the crowd. No validation needed. So we're going to break down a little bit of that title. But first, think about this. Have you ever not did something because one of your friends or your close relatives did something and you didn't want to feel like a copycat? And because you didn't want them to say yay or nay to whatever you were doing, you didn't do it? Have you ever launched something, started something, or even wanted to start something, but because you had no support, you didn't do it? Are you in a relationship with a person that you're trying to become better? You want things to go better, but they're not quite giving you the support that you need, even within that relationship, that it starts to question if you should even start pursuing whatever it is that you want to go get and do? This conversation is for you. Let's go ahead and break down. Let's go ahead and break down the title. You want to go ahead and Gail start?
Sure. So, what is the crowd? Who is the crowd? The crowd is a number of people or spaces almost completely leaving little or virtually no room for movement. Get out the way. Get out the way. So, and then validation is a recognition or affirmation that a person or their feelings or opinions are valid or worthwhile. And lastly, overcoming, of course, we overcome everything, right? Because we are overcomers. Overcoming, succeed in dealing with a problem or difficulty. And we are naturally born overcomers because that's who we are. As women, we deal with a lot of things and we overcome a lot of things. We just don't always apply it accordingly. So that's what this conversation is about. How are we going to overcome the crowd?
Let's go ahead and jump into it.
So, Taj, how do you overcome the crowd?
I first had to recognize who my crowd was. And first I had to even know I needed to overcome it. All right. So I think secretly we seek validation, even if we don't express it in some other ways like other people do. Right. Like social media could be a source of validation. I don't post a lot of stuff on there where I'm expecting people to give me a hand clap. They're just my thoughts. And if I get comments, I get comments. If I get likes, I don't get likes. It kind of doesn't thing. It doesn't really do anything for me. However, I do realize that I have sought validation, like in my job. If I don't get feedback to let me know that I'm doing good or doing bad, I'm looking for some confirmation, somewhat validation that I'm doing something correctly so I can keep going, so I can know if I need improvement. And I realize that I even get frustrated if I don't know if I'm doing good or bad. And some people think, oh, it's cool to coast. For me, I need something to let me know, so that's why, kind of like in my business, there's metrics. I try to get people that I coach to have metrics, to have a criteria so they can know if they're progressing or not, or if they're progressing or not. So I would say that first I had to recognize who my crowd was that I was seeking validation from. And I really had to think about, is that the right person to even seek the validation or approval from?
So how do you recognize what kind of what that crowd looks like? How do you what is it that they're doing other than not giving you the quote unquote validation or confirmation that you're looking for? What makes them the crowd?
What makes them the crowd? So it's usually the people that I'm around consistently. Right. So I have a work crowd, I have a family crowd, I have a friend crowd, because they're people that are around me and they're taking up some type of my capacity, my time. So that's how I qualify who the crowd is. Okay. I used to not even recognize that certain people were actually a part of my crowd until I started to recognize how much time they were taking from me. So that's for me personally. The crowd for other people could be, whatever it is. But for me, that's exactly what it is. When my capacity shrunk, my different engagements that I had with people, that qualified who my crowd was, or gave me insight into who my crowd was. What about you?
I would definitely say the same. People who not just take up time, because time is a commodity that you're never going to get back, right? We're not going to ever get more time. We always say we need more time, or we need this. You're not going to get that time back. So it's important to not have people in your space that is going to take up not just your time, but your mental, I don't even know what to call that, but your mental space. Like if you're thinking of, if they presented you with an issue or something like that, and it's taking up time even in your mind and you're thinking about it, that's a part of the crowd. And you can't really focus on what you need to be focused on. So I think it's always having a renewed mindset, shifting your mind when you need to shift. And even if that means that you have to cut off some people, at least, even if not permanently, but at least for a period of time, so you can regroup, if that makes sense.
It definitely does. It definitely does. When I was mentioning, like, if you have something that you started or didn't start based off of the opinions or others, those opinions are a part of the crowd, and the people are a part of the crowd, to your point. So I think sometimes the validation that we seek is that we're on the right track or we're okay, and we don't trust ourselves enough that we're on the right track, right? Or that our thoughts are good enough to be pursued without somebody else co-signing it. And I don't think that's needed. I now don't think it's needed, and I work on it. I work on it all the time. So I will say that it's a struggle to not to continuous to be in the mindset that you don't need to be validated. So I would say that's a struggle that I have and it's not so much from people, but it could be for me for processes, because I'm a process person. I'm a system person. Everything has to make sense, right? So that's somewhat of validating things. So even when I talk to people, I seem to kind of validate them as well, or think that I need their opinion in order to do that. So I would say that's a tip. I would also say I would encourage a person to get a closer relationship with God to even understand why you're searching or sourcing for that validation. Because when you pray about it and you ask him for it and he gives you an answer, that's really all you need to start pursuing whatever it is that your heart desires. Because he wouldn't have deposited, as I would say, or giving you that vision or that idea if he didn't want you to qualify it and pursue it further.
Exactly.
So that's another reason of that whole struggle piece of saying, yeah, I may want people to say yay, nay, or show up or do something, but God has already given me this plan, this vision, and he wouldn't have given it to me if he didn't want me to at least start it, try it, qualify it. So that should be enough validation. But because we're human, right? Sometimes we rely on the outside influences to give us the validation. So that's the reason why I say no validation is really truly needed. Because once you pray about it, he confirms it and gives you the go ahead or gives you the plan.
Right.
Or he's silent about it, but he gave you the thought. that's the go ahead and start to pursue it.
I completely and totally agree with that. I was actually thinking as you were speaking, sometimes if we are, I'm like you, I'm at a point in my life where I don't need the validation. At one point it was like I needed because it was something I grew up without. I never got I grew up with nothing was ever good enough, right? But then I got to a point where I needed it. I started getting it, and then I was dependent on it. But now I'm at a place where I hear the voice of God for myself. So again, no validation is needed. Love y'all, but if you don't like me, take it up with the man who created me. Right? So you have to have that kind of God level of confidence. The other thing too is, if we're looking for validation from something or someone else, it can send us down the wrong path, because that's not the path that God wants us to go down. Somebody else can have a vision for your life. But goes back to what we talked about last Thursday about being in one place too long. You can go down the path that somebody else had for you and the vision that somebody else had for you, and you stay in that position for too long, and it will throw you on the wrong path, because you listen to them rather than listening to God, because you thought that they were giving you validation when your validation needs to come from God.
That's true. I realized too that there's different situations where validation for me probably is more needed than others, or that I notice that it's more needed than others. And it's always when it's new territory. So on my job, on my old stuff, I know like the back of my hand, I'm not asking anybody anything. I'm just being honest. Like, this is what it is. If you have any questions, you want to get input, you want to contribute to it, let's contribute. But if not, this is how we rocking and rolling. But I recently got a promotion, which is a completely new territory, right? At a completely new company with completely new players. I'm like, is this how y'all do stuff? Because this is how I would do stuff. So that's validation, please. So I guess it kind of borders the line of that confirmation. Like, is that how you do it? Because nobody's telling you how they do things. It's like open, at least at my company, it's free. And working in IT, I mean, everyone's logical. It's a logical thinker. But with this new promotion, I'm working more with business stakeholders. So it's like, Well, what are you expecting? What do you need? What do you want? My role is kind of evolving. So that's a very valid point. But on things that I know that are God things, and I probably need to pay more attention at work about God things and God thoughts, because I don't do that. That's probably a thing. But
it is.
God thoughts, I'll be like, I am unapologetically me.
But I really believe in what you're saying in terms of your promotion. Just for example, God wouldn't have put you in that position, right? Because God partners with us and he positions us.
You're right.
What we need to do. So even though it may not look like it from your standpoint, you know what I mean? But he knows all, and he's Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. He knew what it was going to be. He knew what the end was going to be before he even created it.
He knew these people was going to give me a headache every day. He knew
He already knew. So he already knows how much he can handle.
That's true. I guess I shouldn't say a headache, but consistent chaos.
But chaos that you can handle nonetheless.
You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. But it's just like, when sometimes I think, for me anyway, when you get to a point in life, you feel like you don't have to revisit those same struggles. All right. So now kind of starting all over with kind of the same company, but although they were purchased, but new players, I guess, in a kind of new environment. It's like, baby, you trying to take me back 5 years. Like, God, that's what you want me to go revisit? You want me to revisit those? And I think it's more of, I want you to revisit maybe the scenario to even display the growth on a whole nother level. Right? So at the end,
girl.
Glory, right? I think that's the thing. Like, I want you to go back and revisit situations, not that you need their validation, so that you can remember and overcome that this is going to be a challenge that you're going to experience once you're full-time in your own business. People, personalities, different
What
things.
did you learn from the first time? What did you learn from the first time? And you're going to experience it and do something different, handle it differently.
So I just heard this from somebody, pass the test, sis. Pass the test.
Yes, just pass it the first time. Just pass it the first time. It's not easy. By no means is it easy, but just pass the test the first time. Right?
I guess
so you don't have to, so how many times are you going to have to take the test? Because the only time that God is silent is when you're taking it. The only time teachers are silent is when you're taking a test.
Well, I'm like, was the struggle before the pre-test and this the test? Is this the quiz? I mean, was that the quiz and this is the final assessment? Oh, I don't know. This walk with God, it's just ever changing, right? It's kind of like a roller coaster, because at the end, your goal is always, for me anyway, is to become a better version of myself. But it's like this. And sometimes I'll be like, not today, God. I know people don't want to talk to you that way, but
that's between you and him. That's between you and him. Like, oh my God, really? So this how you move?
To you saying that no validation needed, because it's truly every God thought, every vision, every whatever you want to call it, deposit, whatever he's putting you to birth, it's really truly between you and him. So the outside factors can contribute if you want them to contribute, but not to discourage.
Yeah.
That's how I feel, in my opinion.
But going back to, if you want them to contribute, again, it goes back to you identifying what's worthy of a contribution.
Yeah. So I'll say that these are some things that I kind of helped think through when you were asking me tips before, is that, like, what sparked the idea? Like, qualifying these things for yourself first before you even approach a crowd. All right. Like, what sparked the idea? Was it a God thought, or was it you want to have a copycat moment? Right? Because me being a creative, I can look at other things like, oh, making t-shirts. I can make that shirt. Oh, I can make that mug. Oh, it's all these ideas. You're always inspired. Oh, I could tweak this or do this when it comes to like a creativity of making things. But when it comes to businesses or really true thoughts that's going to take up my time, I'm like, oh, that's for them. That's not for me. So I think about like what sparked the idea. Are you following a trend, or is it a God thought, or both? All right. God sends confirmations, but if you're close to him and you hear him, then you'll know that it's a God thought and not a trend.
Right.
And everybody hears God differently.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Right?
Amen, sister.
And I also think about like, did God send the trend to be confirmation? That's your relationship with him.
Did God send a trend to be your confirmation?
So like things that are happening, for example, me fully starting my coaching business, right? I looked up maybe one thing, and there were all of these people like selling ebooks, doing all of this electronic stuff. Heck, I was on this whole path of Clubhouse and listening and like really realizing like, geez, I provide value. Maybe I should create this ebook. Right? But what it helped me realize is that the ebook may be cool and things, but the real value that I provide is the one-on-one connection when I talk to people and their aha moments that they receive from me. So the trend of ebooks and things like that help God to confirm your purpose is providing clarity to people. You're the bridge builder, right? So that's what I meant by I did the trend ring confirmation.
Okay, I just want to clarify, just as you said, right?
Right.
So you see things over and over again. Like I think we talked about this before. You know, you might read it in a book, you might see it on TV, you might hear it from somebody. And what I find really, it's all God. I know it's all God when I haven't said anything to anybody, not even you. And lo and behold, God will either use you or a book or somebody I don't even know. Like I had that happen this week. Was that this week?
That was this week.
Yeah, somebody didn't even know me that said something that was a confirming word to me, but only me and God knew about that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, God, this how you gonna do? Okay, I'm listening. My ears are wide open.
Yeah.
My spiritual ears are wide open. And I think, again, goes back to qualifying it. You know, the spirit is not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Come through Bible study. This is not Bible study. I want y'all to know.
Shut up. But I mean, it's just comfort. You know, I hate to say this, but I have literally broken off relationships with people that I had one girlfriend. We both left churches at the same time. Two different churches, but we both left church at the same time. And she told me, she was like, Gail, God told me that you supposed to be at the church that she ended up going to. That's what she told me. I'm like, God don't operate like that. God's going to tell me something first about my own life before he tells somebody else. And anything that you say or anything anybody should say should be a confirmation to me. And so I've literally cut off relationships because, baby, you out of order. I can't do that.
It goes back to say again. Look,
Qualified.
No validation needed, because he gonna talk to me before he talks to you about me. You can only confirm it. It cannot be a new thing through you. Okay. Okay. You got that. All right. The other thing I would do is like write down the thought and evaluate the impact.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, what I'm saying right now, you'd be like, this sounds like she's talking about her business. It's how my mind works. That's why I started a business, because how my mind works is, what's the impact of this thought? What does that mean? Mm-hmm. And that's a whole lot of talking with God and a whole bunch of reality too. Because we can ask God for confirmations and somewhat of guidance, but we got to do the work. And so evaluating impact, that's doing the work. So that's how it does.
If you want some execution strategies for y'all that run businesses out there, you want some execution strategies? See that girl right there that's on this screen somewhere? Talk to her because she will get you cutthroat to execute.
But you said something else about mindset, and that's another tip that I have here is preparing your mindset for the constructive criticism. So when you're going out to seek validation, just know criticism is going to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you're going to even need validation at some point, if you want some confirmation, validation, whatever it is, just make sure that the crowd that you chose to expose those thoughts to, that they are respectful and it's positive, so that it's constructive. So it helps you make a decision and not discourage you. Those are very, very important.
Absolutely. I agree. Bounce your ideas around a select group.
Baby, about one or two gonna get these ideas. About one or two.
I know you said it's one Bible study, but hey, Jesus had 12, but he only had a core 3. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Oh, so you mean when I post on Facebook and I ask for opinions, and you mean people comment and they don't really qualify to comment? So why did I post it anyway if I didn't want to receive their opinions and comments? What I should have just went to my core. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say that.
I'm just trying to help.
Say that to you.
I'm just trying to help somebody, right? I'm just trying to help somebody that thinks that social media can validate the opinion of whatever it is you're going through. But if you have a core, right? Bouncing around your core. You don't need a crowd when you got a core.
That's right.
And I think the last, anything else that we want to,
No, I think that's it. I think this was a good subject.
All right.
Looking forward to Tuesday and Thursday of next week. Yay.
Yes. So tune in this Sunday in the Gold Sisters Network group where we have Let's Pray Sis. It's a quick 15-minute prayer where we pray for the week. Next Tuesday, we're interviewing Gail for Gold Talk Tuesday. Her intro told you who she is. She's the real estate professional. I just lost the word there. I'm sorry.
Ace. I am your real estate ace.
But she is the real estate ace. And she'll be able to explain what ACE stands for on Tuesday. And then next Thursday, we'll have another Think About It Thursday of put some respect on my journey.
Yes.
Correct. Y'all have a great night. Thank you for tuning in. Be blessed.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.